The Duchess is here without her mask.
An endless night of chatter started.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is someone foolish enough to try flirting with you, though I am right here. I can never escape that you are quite the catch, and there will always be someone who wants you.
Alessandra spoke softly, so no one could say she was being insecure.
Like the fools who are bold enough to stare at you, though I am right here, they will find themselves without eyes if they do not stop staring.
Edgar spoke out loud, specifically to the men who watched Alessandra with a gaze he did not appreciate.
Whatever happened to, I am going home with you?
Alessandra mused.
It is not forgotten, but I still do not enjoy their stares as if they are undressing you.
Edgar replied. Not only did she need to be protected from jealous women who didn't know how to act, but now there were men who needed to be warded away. Edgar noticed the attention she was getting from his peers before, but now that Alessandra was dressed up without her mask and she was oozing confidence, there was double the attention on her. If anyone tried to get too touchy with Alessandra tonight, Tobias would have special entertainment. 2 days later, Wilma had already departed Lockwood to return home to care for her husband. Lockwood was turned upside down during these 2 days as those invited to the king's birthday ball rushed to prepare for it. It would be the highlight of the winter season, so everyone wanted to look their best, as one simple bad outfit would be remembered until the next ball. Hazel returned to the palace as she needed to be dressed there and enter the ball by Tobias's side. One by one, carriages lined up outside the palace to drop off the excited guests.
This is grander than the first ball I attended. I still think we should have brought a gift for Tobias. He would have appreciated it if it came from you personally,
Alessandra said. She sat in a carriage with Edgar, waiting until they would reach the steps to go into the palace. Unlike their other visits, there wasn't a quick ride to the steps as they were met with too many carriages going in at once. Alessandra didn't mind the time to prepare herself before going inside.
I will send him one.
It is better to hand it to him yourself,
Alessandra interjected.
He would thank you in person and you get to see his reaction.
Edgar didn't see what the difference was. For most years, he sent Tobias a gift. Tobias would then find a way to get out of the palace to visit his home to tell him how much he liked the gift.
If I go myself, Tobias doesn't have an excuse to be away from the palace. He used to visit me to take a break from being inside the palace, doing his job as king. Linda is Hazel's excuse.
Edgar looked away from the window to Alessandra, who sat all dolled up. If he had it his way, he would take her away from the palace and enjoy the night with just the two of them. First, he would like a portrait done of how beautiful she looked tonight. If the painter could not capture her beauty, it was only fair he gave up painting. Maybe his fingers, too, if Edgar wasn't in the mood.
Will you be all right without your mask? You don't need to rush this,
he said.
We've been through this from the moment I told you that I wasn't going to wear my mask to the ball. I am fine. But thank you for worrying. People will either accept this is how I am now or have something to say. All that matters is that I am ready. I don't want to be your masked wife anymore,
Alessandra replied, feeling confident in herself. She had gotten comfortable being without a mask at home around the servants and guests who came to see them. Alessandra was more than ready to show her face at the ball.
If anyone talks about a curse, tell me right away. I will take care of it,
he promised.
No fighting tonight, Edgar. You should not ruin Tobias's birthday. I don't care if anyone mentions a curse. It doesn't bother me anymore.
Fight? I will ruin their livelihood in the morning. They will see a curse affect their families for years if they speak ill of you. Stick with your friends and do not wander off when I am not near,
Edgar instructed her.
I am not a child, Edgar. I know not to wander off. Eleanor will be attending, so I will meet with her. We will meet with Linda and then Hazel when she has time. If anyone troubles me, I will scream at the top of my lungs for you. Everyone will think a crazy woman has entered the palace,
Alessandra joked.
That might be the best thing for you to do. Or maybe I should have Reed enter the palace with you,
Edgar seriously considered. No other guards aside from the palace guards would be present, but the status of Reed's mother inside the palace would grant him entry as a guest. Reed sat with the coachman and was meant to look out for any danger while all the guests were inside. It wasn't uncommon for someone to mess with the carriages while all the coachmen went off to chat with each other.
I am certain Reed had plans to sleep in the carriage the moment we left. He will not be happy with this. Caleb would have done it in a heartbeat. It is almost our turn,
Alessandra said, her nerves suddenly coming back as a man dressed in white was waiting to open their door. She touched her hair Sally had done an excellent job in pinning up into a bun, so a certain necklace could be displayed around her slender neck. Alessandra was dressed in red to match the rubies decorating her necklace. There was no better time to wear the Queen's heart than now when she was revealing her face. Having no mask would get the people talking, but the Queen's heart would shut them up. It had not been worn by anyone in years, so it would leave those who knew about it puzzled.
Good evening, Duke and Duchess Collins. The King welcomes you to his birthday ball.
A male servant greeted the pair.
I will help her out,
Edgar said when the man tried to give Alessandra a hand out of the carriage.
Her husband is still alive to do simple things like this,
he added, forcing the servant to step back as he got out of the carriage first to help Alessandra.
If I were dead, I would haunt any man trying to help you,
Edgar whispered. Alessandra chuckled and shook her head at Edgar's possessive behavior.
Thank you.
She accepted his help. Leave it to Edgar to find a way to haunt someone.
Reed.
Edgar called to Reed, who was already dozing off at the front where the coachman sat.
You're coming with us. What the fuck?
Reed mumbled under his breath. He should have known his plan to rest would be ruined.
Every single time I look forward to resting, there is some... We should go inside now before you end up with a cold. You can leave your coat behind. I will send Reed for it later,
Edgar said, not trusting her coat being placed with others. After the tea incident, he doubted the safety of the palace more than usual.
Right,
Alessandra replied, taking off the coat to show off more of the red dress.
The Duchess is here without her mask.
An endless night of chatter started. Edgar noticed the attention she was getting from his peers before. But now that Alessandra was dressed up without her mask and she was oozing confidence, there was double the attention on her. If anyone tried to get too touchy with Alessandra tonight, Tobias would have special entertainment in watching someone lose their hand, whether it be Edgar or Reed doing it.
I have to say, I am enjoying this jealous side of you. I thought I would always be the one annoyed that there is someone lusting after you. The only man I care about tonight is you,
Alessandra said to calm his annoyance.
Please be reminded that I am here.
Reed spoke up so the couple knew not to be romantic before him. He respected Alessandra and Edgar, but he didn't care for the sappy conversation. Reed didn't see why practically everyone inside was watching the couple, or Alessandra to be specific. What was the big deal about the mask? One side of her face was always exposed, and it was obvious she was a beautiful woman. How could nonsense about a curse make them so blind to deny her beauty? Still, Reed was more interested in keeping an eye out for his mother so he could avoid her. He didn't need a lecture about settling down or how many good young ladies were present. He would throw Caleb's little fake engagement under the carriage to get the conversation off of himself if he ran into his mother. All he needed to do was not go anywhere near the princess, as that was where his mother would be.
You should relax and enjoy yourself, Reed. It is amazing how Edgar has surrounded himself with people who like to do nothing but keep to themselves. I am probably the most social person at home. Oh, Tobias and Hazel are already sitting on their thrones. We missed their entrance,
Alessandra said, a little disappointed, but the busy roads weren't their fault. They left home at a good time, but were held back by other carriages.
Duchess!
Eleanor greeted Alessandra as she approached the group.
Duke Collins. Reed.
She side-eyed the grumpy man standing behind the Duchess. Their ride back to her home was not pleasant, and she found him to be insufferable. Where was the happy twin when you needed him?
You are stirring up a lot of talk when the night has only just begun.
Eleanor was made aware of Alessandra's arrival because news was traveling quickly of Alessandra being here without a mask, and everyone wanted to see what was hidden all these years. It didn't seem like Alessandra was affected by all the eyes on her and the whispering. Eleanor hoped it would remain that way.
Eleanor!
Alessandra let go of Edgar to greet Eleanor with a hug. She ignored the gasps heard around them. To everyone else, it was odd for a duchess and someone with a family background like Eleanor's to be in the same circle. Alessandra didn't care, as these were the same people who avoided her.
You look lovely. Thank you. You are stunning tonight, Duchess. I can feel the jealousy and shock of our peers from here. I hope I get a chance to thank the Queen for giving me an invitation. This is the first time attending the King's birthday ball. My aunt went overboard dressing me for the occasion,
Eleanor said, feeling out of her element with how she was dressed tonight. Eleanor's shoes weren't pleasant for her feet. Her lips were painted too much. The pink dress wasn't something she cared for, and the dress was bound to choke her by the end of the night. Her aunt didn't hide the fact she wanted Eleanor to find a suitor tonight. She felt the need to tear the dress a tiny bit so she could breathe.
What?
Eleanor asked when she saw Reed staring at her. What smart thing was he going to say? She wasn't afraid to knock him over the head, even in the palace. He must think it was odd to see her this dolled up. One stupid joke, and her mouth would be ready to throw out insults, even though there was nothing bad she could say about him. Reed was getting attention from young ladies left and right.
Nothing,
he answered. Alessandra noticed how Eleanor felt out of place, but it was important for Eleanor to be there. It would have taken anyone longer to notice what Julia was doing if not for Eleanor.
You look wonderful, Eleanor. You should stop tugging at the dress. If Erin, my dressmaker, is here tonight, I will ask her to help with your dress.
Thank you.
Eleanor sighed in relief.
Duke Collins.
Alessandra looked at a man she had never seen before. whispering something to Edgar.
Give me a moment, Alessandra. I need to leave for something important. I'm sorry.
Edgar apologized, as they had only just arrived, but he already needed to leave her side. Whenever he came to the palace, there was always something he needed to deal with. Grant's death was causing a lot of conflict in the palace. Even on the king's birthday, there was someone looking to stir up trouble.
I understand. I have Reed and Eleanor to keep me company,
Alessandra replied, not upset he was leaving so soon. She understood Edgar had private matters to deal with in the palace, and she would rather him take care of it now so they could be together later and enjoy the rest of the ball.
Reed, keep trouble away from her,
Edgar said, and kissed Alessandra's cheek as a goodbye before leaving.
Unfortunately, trouble has just arrived,
Eleanor said, looking at the entrance where Alessandra's half-sister and stepmother were standing. Eleanor wasn't particularly fond of Kate, who kept mentioning what her parents did for a living. They would always clash when they were in the same room. But since Kate was Alessandra's relative, she would try to play nice, even though Alessandra and Kate did not get along.
Mother, keep an eye out for Simon. I want to be seen by his side as soon as possible,
Kate said, giving the room a quick look over to see if she could find him herself. Kate had a good feeling that by the end of tonight, she and Simon would take their growing relationship to the next step. Regardless of her father losing his title and her mother finally moving along with the divorce, Simon had sent her a letter to cheer her up. He did not care like everyone else, which was a big relief. Kate feared she would have to start all over again, trying to make a man fall in love with her.
Kate, stop looking around for him. You are starting to look desperate. Let Simon search for you. In the meantime, if there is anyone who wants to dance with you, do not turn them away. A little jealousy might push Simon to make things serious,
said Katrina. Just like Kate, she wanted the night to end with good news. If not for Kate potentially getting engaged soon, Katrina would have stayed home, as the town was still talking about her not having a title. It wasn't enjoyable to go from Baroness to just Katrina. Their words didn't get to her, but it was frustrating to deal with their fake concern.
I know, but I don't want to upset him. What if dancing with someone makes him leave? I want my first dance to be with Simon. I have everything planned for this to be the perfect night for us. Trust me.
Fine, do things your way.
Katrina backed off. Kate had grown a lot since the days she used to chase after Edgar. Kate had made a lot of progress with Simon on her own, so there was no reason for her to be watching over Kate tonight.
Do not get distracted by anyone else tonight, Kate.
I won't,
Kate lied. She had not forgotten her plan to make a fool out of Alessandra tonight. She was anticipating the sweet moment when she would get to see Alessandra crumble again.
Mother, have you heard from Lila's parents?
I visited her mother, but she does not want to talk. I told you many times to watch who you surround yourself with. I doubt they are going through with the marriage, or maybe they are hiding her because she was pregnant all this time, and that was why she got engaged out of the blue. She is the most boring one in your group. There's no way she would get engaged before you, even if the man was of low birth,
Katrina muttered. Kate snickered as she found her mother's words to be true. It would make more sense if it was Grace, but not boring Lila, who went along with everything they said.
Now that you mention it, her stomach looked odd the last time I saw her. Did you see Duchess Alessandra?
Kate overheard Alessandra's name from two young women passing by her. She liked that Alessandra was present so she could go through with her plans.
The Duchess is beautiful.
She heard the brief conversation as she walked by a group of men. Now that Kate was no longer thinking about Simon, she noticed how much she was hearing Alessandra's name the further she got from the entrance. Alessandra and beautiful didn't belong in the same sentence.
Mother?
Kate started, but something caught her eye and made her words become lost in her throat.
What is wrong, Kate?
Katrina asked when she noticed Kate appeared shocked, and then it was quickly replaced by a look of horror.
Kate, what are you looking at?
Katrina asked, trying to find what had startled Kate. Just like Kate, most of the people around them were looking in the same direction.
Mother?
Kate muttered, trying to process what she was seeing.
Why doesn't she have her mask?
Katrina stared at the young woman she despised just as much as the mother she resembled. Alessandra was the spitting image of Melanie, the woman Greta liked to compare her to, and the woman Desmond continued to love, though he denied it. It was as if all the attention was back on Melanie. It was the only thing Katrina saw when she looked at Alessandra, standing around in expensive clothing with the entire room fascinated. Katrina spent years competing with a woman she never met, and now her daughter would be forced to compete with Alessandra. Kate found it hard to breathe the more she looked at Alessandra. There was a tightness growing in her chest, and for a moment, she felt like she could pass out. What upset her more than Alessandra not wearing her mask was the necklace around her neck. Kate wanted nothing more than to go over to where Alessandra stood, yank the necklace off, and force Alessandra to cover her face. The tightness in Kate's chest grew as she could already hear people around comparing the two of them.
Mother!
Kate covered her ears with her hands. Hearing Kate calling out to her snapped Katrina out of staring at Alessandra. It was only now Katrina noticed how heavy Kate's breathing had become.
Kate!
Katrina panicked, rubbing Kate's back to calm her. Now was not the time to be making a scene.
Make them stop comparing us.
Kate pressed her hands against her ears to stop the comparison. She was not ready to be forced back into second place and be forgotten. Katrina looked around to see who was talking about Kate, but everyone looked occupied in speaking about Alessandra alone.
No one is comparing the two of you, but they will start to talk if you do not calm down, Kate.
Katrina whispered, to avoid bringing too much attention to Kate.
The music is too loud,
Katrina explained to the people who started to look at Kate.
I can hear them.
Kate replied as the comparisons filled her ears. She could even hear her father's voice telling her to be more like Alessandra.
Enough of this!
Katrina angrily pulled Kate's hands away from her ears. She understood why Kate was upset, but there was no need to cause a scene. There was already enough being said about them because of the title and divorce.
Listen, Kate. No one is comparing you. You are still better than her.
Kate looked away from Alessandra and tried to listen to what the crowd was saying.
What's wrong with Kate? She looks like she will pass out.
Kate steadied her breathing as she realized what she heard was all in her head. She'd almost made a fool of herself because of Alessandra. That's right. I am still better than her, Kate thought, glancing at Alessandra, who continued to pretend like she didn't notice the attention. Kate quickly tossed out her plan to knock off Alessandra's mask. But there was still one thing she could do to ruin Alessandra.
Kate!
Simon called to Kate as he came to her side. He touched her arm to make her notice him. Simon didn't miss the look she gave her own sister. Like, if she had the chance to be alone with Alessandra, Kate would kill her. But when she realized he was present, she smiled as though she had never once had an evil thought. She was too perfect to just discard, despite what the town was saying about her family.
The staring is starting to feel uncomfortable. I hope there will be something else to capture their attention soon. I knew not wearing the mask would bring a lot of attention, but this is ridiculous,
Alessandra said, trying not to look directly at the crowd of people watching her. Tobias was the main character for the night, and yet hardly anyone was looking in his direction. It was starting to feel like she stole the spotlight from the birthday boy. She would gladly give it back to Tobias.
I've been wondering if I should leave your side to get away from it. I'm joking.
Eleanor chuckled when Alessandra panicked.
I will help protect you from these gossiping fools until your husband returns. I thought they said no personal guards are allowed inside.
Alessandra looked at Reed, who was bored out of his mind.
Reed is here as a guest,
she explained.
I see,
Eleanor replied.
I have not seen Linda yet. I wonder if she is here already or lost in the carriages outside,
Alessandra said, now looking around the room to find Linda. They were meant to be near each other until Hazel was free to have people around her. With everything that happened with Grant, the town started to talk negatively about the Hensons, even though Tobias made it clear Linda's brothers and father helped him. The town just wanted something to talk about, and now they were saying Linda and Hazel were enemies, but that was far from the truth.
Maybe she will arrive when no one is looking at who is coming through the entrance. Maybe she is already here with the Queen and is waiting for the right moment to come out. I hope she attends and doesn't let these people stop her from enjoying the ball. By the way, have you heard? Sophia was released from the dungeons yesterday,
Eleanor asked. Alessandra had forgotten about the incident she had with Sophia.
No, I have not heard about her for a while.
Her husband was pleased to not have her hands removed. I wonder why.
Eleanor smiled suggestively.
The king must have changed her punishment so that she spent long days in the dungeon instead of taking her hand. I doubt you will be seeing her for a while. That was a nice warning to anyone thinking of harming you. The king, queen, and duke are all protecting you. There will still be some fools looking to say something foolish.
It is Lockwood after all. The people here find it hard to keep their mouths shut. I have already prepared myself that in the next 5 minutes, trouble will come my way,
Alessandra said. And right as soon as she looked around the crowd, she noticed that Kate was here with the Marquess. She had heard the two were quite close. At least with Simon by her side, Kate should be well behaved.
And here it comes,
Eleanor muttered, watching Emma come over to Alessandra with Oliver by her side.
Duchess,
Emma curtsied.
I was hoping to run into you tonight. I've sent letters to your residence, hoping to spend some time with you and get to know you better. You never responded. Did I do something wrong?
Alessandra immediately felt awkward, due to Emma bringing this up out of the blue with Oliver right beside her.
I think I've made it quite clear that I was not looking to entertain us spending time together. We have nothing in common, and our husbands... Pardon me, but what do you have in common with Eleanor to pick her over me? I am a refined lady, and it would benefit you to have me around instead of...
Emma paused to give Eleanor a look over. Eleanor was pretty, but it did not change her disgusting background. How was Eleanor even able to get an invite to this ball?
You!
Eleanor began, but Alessandra stopped her.
I have the choice to pick who I want to surround myself with. I've been respectful in turning down your offers for us to meet. Please do not push any further. This is making me uncomfortable. If you would excuse me.
Alessandra hooked her right arm with Eleanor's to leave. She spotted Heather and wanted her to join their group. It was not just Emma being pushy with trying to get an invitation to the Collins estate that bothered Alessandra. It was the memory of Emma laughing at Heather being made an outcast because of what happened with Priscilla. Alessandra did not find it to be funny, and considering she had helped Emma not make more of a fool out of herself when she was slightly drunk at Grant's party, it was wrong of Emma to laugh at anyone so soon. Emma could feel Eleanor enjoying having Alessandra side with her. She could not understand why Alessandra would gravitate toward the likes of Eleanor, who had such a foul mouth. Perhaps it was because Alessandra wasn't much of a lady, despite being the Duchess. Alessandra should consider herself lucky that anyone wanted to be by her side. Alessandra should be begging other young women to be her friend. Emma pulled her hand away from Oliver, who said nothing to help her. After something odd she noticed a day ago, when they started moving their things into the home their parents bought, she was confused when it came to him, and hoped this was just all in her head as their wedding was drawing closer. Alessandra, Eleanor, and Reed went to join Heather, and to their surprise, Dominic was Heather's escort for the night.
So, you two are together?
Alessandra asked, trying to piece together when this happened.
No.
Heather quickly denied it.
After everything with Priscilla and everyone distancing themselves from me yesterday, I didn't want to attend the ball and remain by my parents' side. I ran into Dominic, and he offered to be my escort tonight. We're just here as friends. I've known him almost as long as I have known the Duke,
she reminded the trio. Reed gave Dominic a look as if he wasn't a fool to believe the just friends story. Sneaky bastard, he thought. Dominic ran away from his mother, wanting him to get married, only to end up courting a woman who was meant to be with Edgar since they were young. It's obvious he likes Heather, Eleanor thought, but she would not be the one to break this to Heather. The two should figure it out. Alessandra felt like there was more to Heather and Dominic coincidentally running into each other. There were a few days where Dominic was away for hours, and then returned home whistling, as though something had put him in a good mood. He was supposed to be moving into his new home out of town by now, but something was keeping him here.
Why are the three of you staring at me?
Heather asked Alessandra, Reed, and Eleanor. They were staring at her like they had something to say to her.
Nothing,
they replied.
It doesn't feel like nothing,
Heather muttered. She wished to know what they wanted to say. Did they think she should not have come here with Dominic?
Where is the Duke?
She asked, to take the attention off of herself.
Edgar was pulled away to deal with something. I am sure he will return soon,
Alessandra answered.
I see. You look beautiful, Duchess. If the crowd isn't talking about your face, they are talking about your necklace,
Heather said, getting a good look at the infamous Queen's heart. Alessandra learned quickly how to stir up a lot of talk and create a grand entrance. Heather was curious why exactly Alessandra covered her face if there was nothing wrong. Heather heard many assumptions from Alessandra covering her face because of her sister's jealousy to her wanting attention, but it had a negative response years ago.
It's starting.
We get to walk around the royal garden. Stick with me.
Eleanor pulled Alessandra close.
We will get some marriage proposals and heartbreak in the garden.
The doors leading to the garden were opened, and now guests could wander around from inside the ballroom to the garden outside. This was the time gentlemen would seek out a young lady they were courting to ask for their hand in marriage. Some rejection was inevitable, but the garden would shortly be filled with newly engaged couples. Alessandra found going to the garden to find a partner a lot of pressure. A crowd of people would find entertainment in watching couples be happily engaged or rejected and left alone. As she got closer to the garden, she noticed it was more like a maze, and the only way you could see what was happening was if you had a good spot on the balconies. Alessandra didn't want to witness hearts being broken on such a good night, but she had to stay close to the group instead of lagging behind.
Eleanor, wouldn't your aunt want you to go into the garden to find a match?
She teased.
She would, but I already made up a good excuse about not finding a partner. I went through the trouble of hiding the fact the invitation to the ball said I could bring along one guest. I would be forced into that garden against my will if I let her come with me,
said Eleanor, feeling a chill run over her body as she imagined the torture she would have to endure if her aunt was present.
Are you afraid you won't find a match if you go into the garden?
Reed asked.
Of course not. I'm afraid I will be annoyed by foolish proposals from men who know nothing about me. Why don't you go down and try to win some poor girl's heart? Afraid they will turn you down the moment they see you?
Eleanor retorted, highly annoyed by Reed's presence. Is this what it will be like to have children? Hearing them bicker all the time? Alessandra wondered. To her left and right were couples slowly being formed.
Duchess, your sister and the Marquess are going into the garden. Another wedding may be in your family soon,
Heather said, pointing to where Kate walked behind Simon. If not for her fallout with Priscilla, Heather would have gone down to the garden to see if there was anyone willing to propose to her. Unfortunately, she had not spent enough time getting acquainted with potential suitors.
She will have what she always wanted. That is good for her,
Alessandra said, not having anything bad to say about Kate soon achieving what she dreamed of, which was being the wife of a reputable man. Alessandra wished Simon the best, as he didn't know who he was looking to spend the rest of his life with.
It is hard to believe the two of you are sisters. Maybe it is your mothers that make the difference? Kate is so nasty, while you are pleasant. No offense, but I hope he is taking her there to reject her. I have a terrible history with Kate. She looks down on everyone around her. But I have a little secret about her. Do you know she once visited the red light district hoping to run into your husband? This was over a month ago, before it was announced you married him,
Eleanor revealed. Alessandra was aware Kate had a big crush on Edgar, but didn't know it was to this degree that she would risk going to the red light district. Eleanor continued to watch Kate and Simon walking further into the garden, away from where all the other couples were.
I don't know why everyone keeps troubling me when I say time and time again that I know a lot about what goes on in this town. That's why you should keep me around,
Eleanor added, as what Emma said had bugged her. She was useful to Alessandra more than anyone realized.
I don't need you around to tell me what you know. I enjoy your company, Eleanor,
Alessandra clarified, so Eleanor wouldn't feel like she was only useful for information.
Alessandra.
Edgar returned to her side. He didn't question why Dominic and Heather were standing near each other like a couple. It was about time Dominic admitted he liked Heather. Edgar noticed it in their youth and hoped Dominic would have made his feelings known so Priscilla could stop forcing Heather on him.
Enjoying the ball?
Yes. I didn't know there was time allocated for couples to get engaged. Are you finished with what you were pulled away for, or will you have to leave my side again?
She asked, hoping it was not the latter. Earlier, she understood he would be busy, but watching the couples made her want her husband nearby. She was excited to dance with Edgar tonight after the lessons she had with Alfred to prepare for the ball.
I won't have to leave your side for the rest of the night. Reed, your mother is looking for you,
Edgar mentioned before he might forget. He ran into the woman when he was on his way back to Alessandra, and somehow she knew her son was at the ball.
Shit.
Reed looked around to make sure she wasn't near. She would follow Edgar to find him.
Excuse me for a moment.
What is with all of you running from your mothers?
Alessandra asked as they all watched Reed run away like his life was on the line. Meanwhile, Kate could not hold in her excitement the more she and Simon ventured into the garden. It was obvious that he planned to propose to her. It would be rude and unlike him to take her this far into the garden just to say he was no longer interested. Kate would not allow Simon to make a mockery of her.
Tonight is quite beautiful. I should have brought a flower to match your beauty. The ones in the palace garden do not do you any justice,
Simon said, standing at a good distance from Kate to get a good look at her. She was so perfect, and with her mess of a family, she needed him. It was easy to control someone who had nothing and wanted more than she was supposed to have.
You flatter me too much, Simon,
Kate replied, wishing he would stop with what she already knew and propose to her already. She wanted to share the good news right now.
I disagree. I have not said enough when it comes to your beauty and how perfect you are. I have never met a young lady like you. You have made me think about new things, Kate. The way I live, the things I enjoy, and what I want to do in the future. You have no idea how long I have been waiting for someone like you. But I was let down time and time again. I simply cannot let you slip away. But I find myself confused.
Simon frowned.
Confused about what?
Kate didn't understand.
If you feel the same way about me. There are so many men you can pick, so why should you settle for me? I thought numerous times about marrying you, but I fear...
I only want to marry you, Simon. I have turned down anyone's advances because all I want is you. I would not have followed you here if you are not the person I want. I would love to marry you, Simon. I will do my best to make you happy for the rest of your life. I hope our time together is proof of how happy we can be as husband and wife. You will not regret giving your heart to me,
Kate promised.
Will you? Will you regret giving your heart to me? Once I have you officially as mine?
Simon walked toward Kate.
I'm afraid I will never let you go.
I will not regret it.
Kate smiled. His title was enough to let her put up with anything. All she wanted now was to become Marchioness.
Then
Simon took his mother's ring out of his coat pocket.
I would love to ask for your hand. There is no better person worthy of wearing my mother's ring. She was once the one woman in my heart, and now you shall replace her.
Kate bit her lip to hold back from squealing as Simon placed the ring on her finger. She knew the ball would bring good news, and now, what she always wanted. Kate couldn't wait to rub this into the faces of those who were talking about her family recently. Her status was about to soar, and she would be surrounded by people who envied her.
Marchioness Kate.
Kate repeated in her head. Nothing sounded better than the title that would go in front of her first name. She would be owed respect from her peers just from their engagement alone.
I need to find my mother.
You don't have to hold back your excitement,
Simon said, as he wanted to enjoy her happiness before he would one day destroy it. He was savoring the moment more than Kate. It would be fun to look back on her expression now. He was looking forward to seeing how long she could remain happy. Hopefully, Kate would continue to prove why she was so special so he would not kill her. After all, Kate was the first young lady he thought of marrying, and he was going through with it. She would find herself tortured more than his other victims if she turned out to be flawed. The game was too entertaining for Kate to ruin it. Simon touched her shoulder and could not look away from her slender neck that he would break if she could not continue to put on a good show. He hated to be disappointed.
We should find your mother to tell her the good news,
he said, removing his hand from so close to her neck before he could be tempted to strangle her here in the dark maze.
Should I make an escape before your friends find out? I can already hear them screaming.
Kate kept her eyes on the large ring as she walked with Simon to find her mother. None of her peers had a ring better than the one on her finger.
I would have to search for Grace, but I am not sure if Lila is here. I have not seen her for days. This is quite big,
she commented on the size of the ring. It was big enough to make anyone else who received a ring tonight jealous.
Really? Is she ill?
Simon asked.
Have you visited her?
No.
Kate shook her head. Why was their engagement all about Lila now?
I don't know what happened to her. She's been silent since she announced her engagement.
Perhaps she has buried herself in preparing for her wedding. I'm sure you will hear from her soon,
Simon replied. He thought of ruining the ball by putting Lila's body in a nearby field, but why ruin his engagement? He already ruined the last ball. Lila's parents started to bore him with their silence. Why wasn't she reported missing yet so he could watch the town guards hopelessly try to find her? Did they not care for their daughter? Or did they think they could find her on their own? Lila's death wasn't fun, and maybe it was due to the fact that she was not on his list. Simon was aiming for Grace, but foolish Lila showed up randomly, wanting to tell him what Kate was really like. He didn't appreciate Lila acting like more of a saint than Kate was. He had no reason to keep her alive long when she wasn't what he wanted. It was a headache to hide her trail so no one would know she came to his house in the middle of the night.
Probably,
Kate replied, not caring about Lila, but she quickly realized how bad of a friend she was sounding like.
I will visit her tomorrow to see how she is faring and share the good news. I cannot wait for us to be married.
Kate pulled Simon close as they reached where the crowd could see them. She wanted everyone to see how much of a happy couple they were. Kate kept the ring in view, so everyone could see she was now an engaged woman. Kate subtly moved her hand around as much as she could to show off her ring. Her smile fell when she looked around and noticed that Alessandra was not paying attention to her like everyone else was. Why wasn't Alessandra looking? The ring Simon gave her was bigger than the one Edgar first presented to Alessandra. Alessandra should look to see who has the bigger ring now. Instead, Alessandra was busy laughing about something with Edgar, acting like she didn't care about anything around her. It was frustrating for Kate, but she forced a smile so as not to let Alessandra ruin the moment. It was soon time for the men and women to separate, which would be when Kate paid for someone to make a move on Alessandra. Kate was smart enough to send a servant to visit a place that did all sorts of jobs for the right price. Without knowing her name, the job of having a male servant in the palace have his way with the Duchess and then get away quickly was accepted. Soon, Alessandra's life would shatter. Meanwhile, Alessandra tried her best not to laugh at Edgar's impersonation of what was happening among the couples in the garden. He kept making up sappy lines the men must have practiced to win the hearts of young ladies.
I am sure they are speaking from their heart, and that is all that matters. If I asked you to, would you give me a sappy romance line? It doesn't seem sappy when it comes from the person you love. Was there ever something I said to you that made you cringe?
Alessandra asked, curious, as sometimes things just slipped out when it came to Edgar.
No, I love everything you say,
Edgar replied.
See, that was sappy,
Dominic said, feeling like throwing up the more he listened to the two.
Hey,
he exclaimed when Edgar pushed his head in the other direction.
Don't get mad at me that you have become one of the men you once shook your head at, you in-love bastard.
It is sweet to me,
said Heather. She enjoyed the romance in the air from the married couples and the newly engaged. Her heart went out to those she saw storming out of the garden in anger, with their eyes full of tears as they did not get the ending they wanted.
Enjoying the lovebirds?
Tobias asked as he approached the group with Hazel by his side and 2 lines of servants behind them.
I don't see why they make my birthday the time for others to get their hearts broken or engaged. Isn't this like someone wanting to get married at their friend's wedding? Stealing all of my attention.
Happy birthday,
said Alessandra, Heather, and Eleanor.
Thank you. At least you're not rude like your partners, who have not visited me once today or brought me a gift. I need to find new friends,
Tobias said, looking at Dominic and Edgar.
I'll help you look,
Dominic offered.
Happy birthday. You act like you are not surrounded by a lot of people on your birthday, so it is a waste of our time to see you before the ball. Hazel, I feel sorry for the attention-seeking husband you have to put up with.
It's his birthday, so I will put up with it today. Ladies, it is nearing time for us to go off on our own to have a chat while the men go off to drink with Tobias. I promise to keep an eye on her,
Hazel said, knowing Edgar wouldn't trust leaving Alessandra alone with the women after what happened the last time she was here.
What are we going to chat about?
Eleanor asked, as it didn't seem like something she would enjoy. A room full of these women meant drama.
It's mostly young women asking me for advice or trying to get into my circle. The 3 of you cannot leave me alone. Linda is having a hard time coming out to the ball because the things said about her grandfather are taking a toll on her. I need all of you in her absence, and it would be fun to get away from the men,
said Hazel.
Hey, that is not something you say when your husband is around, and it is his birthday,
Tobias stated, pretending to be offended.
Don't act like you're not excited to go off and have a drink with Edgar and all the other men. Follow me. I will take you to the room the ladies are starting to gather in. Don't get into any trouble,
Hazel warned, before giving Tobias a goodbye kiss on the cheek. She could already hear someone scolding her for being affectionate in the presence of so many people. On a night full of love and fun, It couldn't hurt for their guests to see her kiss Tobias.
It seems no one wants us to enjoy our time together. Don't drink too much, Edgar.
I want to have a dance with you when we return, Alessandra said, also giving him a kiss goodbye before she followed Hazel with Eleanor and Heather. Unbeknownst to the group, someone was watching their interaction, waiting for the perfect moment to make their move. Hazel looked at Eleanor, who was dressed up like a doll tonight. Eleanor did not pay attention to the men who were eyeing her. If Eleanor had walked down to the garden, there would be a handful of men to follow her and make her peers jealous. Hazel didn't think those men were right for Eleanor, but she wanted to rub it in the faces of the young ladies who kept talking about Eleanor's background, that Eleanor had the ability to steal the attention.
Did you bring an escort, Eleanor? I noticed one of Edgar's guards was standing near you.
Certainly not. I'm sorry, Eleanor apologized as she interrupted the queen. Speaking with Hazel wasn't as easy as speaking with Alessandra sometimes. There were many maids walking behind Hazel who could inform someone of her words sounding disrespectful. She didn't have the status Alessandra did to get out of trouble. Hazel glanced behind her at the 2 lines of maids that were full of spies keeping an eye on what she was doing. All they did was report what she was doing, so there wasn't a good reason to send them out of the palace. The men in the court were making a big deal out of her wanting to change up who was around her. They quickly forgot about what Julia had done to her.
All of you are dismissed. Inform all the young ladies that we are gathering in the tea room,
Hazel said, sending them all away. There was no one she trusted at the moment to keep by her side.
Yes, Your Highness,
the maids replied, and slowly backed away to do as they were told.
How annoying that after everything, the people here keep shoving tea in my face when I say many times that I have come to hate it. They continue to poke at me. Tobias and I have a long way to go before we completely clean out the palace, but it has been somewhat peaceful these days. How has life been for everyone? Alessandra?
Hazel inquired, needing something to take her head off the palace. It was still draining.
Life has been fine for me. I have been drama-free since the meeting with the court. My grandmother went back home, but she promised to send the recipes she told us about,
Alessandra replied. The cookies they baked with Wilma had turned out great, and Wilma offered to send more recipes. Edgar refused to eat the cookies at first, but after Alessandra pretended to cry, she had gotten him to try one. He could not insult her baking anymore when it came to cookies.
Great! I keep telling Tobias about how good the cookies are, and I've been eager to make them again. What about you, Heather? I noticed Dominic was standing quite close. Do I hear wedding bells?
Hazel mused. When they saw Heather and Dominic standing together, Tobias let it slip that Dominic once had a crush on Heather, but she was too focused on Edgar.
No, Dominic and I are just friends. He came with me so I would not be stuck with my parents.
It was nice of him, Heather replied. She knew others would get the wrong idea about them coming together, which was why she told Dominic to really think about this, but he still wanted to escort her.
I see,
Hazel replied, not believing they would remain friends for much longer.
What about you, Eleanor? Is there a special man in your life?
Hazel thought she sensed something between Eleanor and Reed, but it seemed she was wrong. Unless they were like every other couple who was in denial. Only an annoying bastard my aunt keeps inviting to her home. He made my life hell in the past. If any of you don't hear from me one day, I have run away to get away from my aunt and him, I don't see the reason for all the rush to get married to people you hardly know. I'll find a husband on my own, Eleanor answered.
Well, if you ever need someone who can match you to a partner who suits you, I am that person. I owe you. I can even bring you into the palace so you do not need to run away. Whatever you need, come to me right away. I have already informed the guards to grant you entry into the palace. You can be in the Queen's court if you wish, but I have to warn you that it is quite boring, Hazel said, as she did not want to be part of it. Your Highness,
Emma called out to the Queen. She picked up her dress to catch up with the woman. She ignored Alessandra and Eleanor, as she no longer cared to try getting close to Alessandra. Anyone who enjoyed Eleanor's company lacked class in her eyes. If not for Oliver, she would not have wasted her time speaking with Alessandra to begin with. Behind Emma were Grace, Kate, and several other young ladies who wanted to speak with Hazel.
I'm happy to see all of you made it to the ball. Excuse me,
Hazel quickly whispered to her friends.
I need to socialize as Queen, but we must continue this conversation later. Emma, how is planning your wedding going?
I can't imagine having to force yourself to speak with so many young ladies at once. The Queen's Court is no place for me. On the other hand, a bathroom is, Eleanor said, looking around for where one might be. I need to find one soon.
I will come along with you,
Alessandra said, as it wouldn't be safe to let Eleanor go to the bathroom alone.
Reed?
Alessandra muttered when Reed slowly eased out of a room to their right.
I'm not going to ask why you were there. You should know your way around the palace. Can you please escort Eleanor to a bathroom and bring her back to where the women have to gather?
Why can't she go alone?
Because it is not safe, and if you don't accompany her, I will. We both know there is a certain duke who won't like me going away from the crowd. Which is it?
Alessandra smiled, knowing what his answer would be.
Even in the palace, it wouldn't be safe for her to go to the bathroom alone. How about I go along with both of you?
No. Reed disagreed with her suggestion. The nearest room with a bathroom would take Alessandra far away from the crowd of women. She was safer near the Queen and surrounded by all the other women, as guards were stationed nearby to protect Hazel. Since personal guards were not allowed tonight, he could not follow Alessandra with the other women. Stay with the Queen. Alessandra looked at the large group of women surrounding Hazel, and then at the palace guards following behind. If they were not present, she would not have sent Reed away. But she was safe at the moment. Well, unless someone else was foolish enough to throw something at her.
I didn't intend to walk off into the dark alone or drift from the women. I know to be careful, Reed,
she replied. It is not you that we worry about. Come quickly, Reed said to Eleanor, leading her to the bathroom. Honestly, I would rather hold it now, Eleanor muttered as she followed him.
Are you sure the two of them won't end up fighting each other?
Heather asked, as there seems to be some animosity between Eleanor and Reed.
If neither returns in 10 minutes, I will have Hazel get the guards to search the palace,
Alessandra joked.
Maybe we should make it 5 minutes. It was nice of you to send your guard with her. Indeed, the palace is not safe. There have been a few incidents at balls in the past. I'm happy you stayed behind, said Heather, as she didn't want to be left behind with the women surrounding Hazel. I could hear Edgar scolding me for leaving the group of women. Reed had excellent timing. Truthfully, I didn't want to go because anyone targeting me would follow us to the bathroom and cause trouble for Reed and especially Eleanor, who just wanted to use the bathroom. They can't make a move here, Alessandra explained. At the moment, she had no enemies other than Kate and Katrina,
There were people she didn't know who would love to go after Edgar's wife. As long as she remained with the group, nothing could happen. Kate couldn't help staring at Alessandra, who was once again not paying attention to what was happening around her. There was not a single glance in Kate's way to get a look at her ring. Unless Alessandra didn't know she was engaged? Hey! Where are you going? We're next to speak with the Queen, Grace said when Kate left her side. Is she going to her sister? Grace whispered, finding this to be more interesting than speaking with the Queen. Alessandra! Kate greeted her half-sister. She liked to think of Alessandra as more of her stepsister, as she failed to believe they shared the same father. A house guest would be more suited as a title for Alessandra instead of a sister. It would have been a good rumor to stir up that Alessandra's mother had an affair, and Alessandra was not the child of Desmond Barrett. Duchess? Alessandra corrected Kate. They weren't close enough for Kate to drop the title. She knew Kate was trying to be disrespectful. Why was Kate even speaking with her? They had nothing to say to each other. Kate forced a smile, as she didn't want to seem like the aggressor between her and Alessandra. Kate knew it wouldn't be long before all eyes would be on the two of them. It was evident by now to everyone else that they did not care for each other. She wanted Alessandra to appear like the unhappy one. Now that they were away from the men, Kate had an opening for her plan to start. The man she paid for should be nearby, so all she needed to do was get Alessandra away from everyone else, and then leave her. I would like to have a word with you in private. There's a hallway nearby for no one to hear us, Kate said, expecting Alessandra to follow her. Alessandra couldn't help but wonder if something hit Kate's head before this. I am not going anywhere with you, she replied. Not now, not ever would she leave the group to hear what Kate wanted to say. Whatever you wish to hear about, I do not care to hear. Can't you spare a moment for your sister? Kate raised her voice to get the attention of the other young women. They would help pressure Alessandra into having a conversation with her. No, Alessandra replied. Hearing the word sister from Kate was as odd as Kate speaking to her now. Kate just got engaged, Duchess. I am sure she is excited to share the good news with you, Grace said to help Kate. She wanted to see whatever Kate had planned play out. The ball was quite boring since no one had asked for her hand in marriage. Seeing the Duchess fight with her sister would make up for it. You two should speak in private. Congratulations on your engagement. I wish you happiness, but I have nothing more to say to you. If I leave with you now, it would be no different than a mouse leaving with a cat who always spoke of eating it. Whatever you are planning, put it to rest and enjoy your engagement. Do not let your hatred ruin your night, Alessandra advised Kate. On the night Kate got engaged, how could she look to ruin it by speaking with someone who didn't care for her? Alessandra did not forget the type of person Kate was. Kate might have bossed her around in their youth, but it was only because Alessandra could not say no. She didn't want to create more trouble for herself back then, as Kate liked to attack her when she didn't listen. Now, it was a different story. I'd like to take a seat, Heather. I don't think the Queen will come back to us anytime soon, Alessandra said, pointing to the open room nearby where she assumed the women were meant to go. She could see chairs and maids standing around with trays in their hands. What? Oh, yes, I would like to sit down, Heather replied after she snapped out of her thoughts. She was wondering what could make sisters be so against each other. Heather felt the animosity and dislike the two had for each other. It was a bit uncomfortable and odd, as she had heard when she returned to Lockwood and was learning about Edgar's wife how Kate had taken up for her sister and spoke of taking care of Alessandra daily. Kate received a lot of pity for having to care for her sister, who was known to be cursed. Heather didn't have many interactions with Kate when she returned from Whitetown, but her time in Lockwood now showed Kate was not exactly sweet. Kate was jealous of how close Heather was to Priscilla. So it wasn't surprising to hear Kate join the group of young women who were excited to see Priscilla push Heather out of her circle. Heather was still getting to know more about both sisters, so she didn't know how to feel about the tension in front of her. Alessandra! Kate grabbed Alessandra's hand before she could walk away. Alessandra was still looking down on her. Was it because Kate did not have her title yet? Or because Simon didn't compare to Edgar? Did Alessandra think her face was special? Was Alessandra foolish enough to think she was better than her? Kate didn't like the way Alessandra looked at her. She preferred when Alessandra could not meet her eyes and panicked when she was near. You really think you are something special? For the last time, it is Duchess. Alessandra pried Kate's hands away from holding her. She looked in the direction of the hallway Kate wanted to take her to speak, and wondered what Kate had planned there. It was the same direction Reed had taken Eleanor to find a bathroom. We are not familiar with each other, so do use my title. I will be Marchioness. And when you are officially married, I will not be childish and give you the respect you are entitled to, but not right now when you are grabbing my hand. We have nothing to say to each other, Kate. I know you let your anger get the best of you, but to ruin your engagement night by messing with me is a new level. Savor the night, Kate, Alessandra said. Everyone should look back on the night they got engaged and be happy. Stop acting all high and mighty. When will you address the fact that you went after the Duke solely because I liked him? That is the kind of person you are. You want to appear like you're so innocent, but I know the real you. You let your husband kill our father and didn't help at the funeral after everything. What about you? Will you address what happened to my face? Alessandra asked, refusing to let Kate paint her as a villain. No one was aware of what she endured when living with her family, so it was easy to say she turned her back on her family the moment she got married to Edgar. Katrina and Kate fueled talk of her being ungrateful when she did not attend the funeral. Stop acting like you are an innocent person with clean hands, Kate. Alessandra continued to speak. Since you are hell-bent on ruining a good night, how about I tell a story from our childhood? From when we were alone, and you... Kate exclaimed, clenching her fist. She looked over her shoulder to see if anyone other than Grace and Heather was close enough to hear. Talking about my face isn't hard to do anymore, Kate. I want to have a good night with my husband and friends. If you continue to pester me, I won't mind ruining your night even more. I wonder what your fiancé would think about how aggressive you were in your youth. I've let you lie about me and what happened to my face for years. Leave me alone before I shatter your life, Alessandra warned in a low tone, so not everyone watching could hear. As good as it would be to reveal the full story right now, Alessandra wanted to hold on to it and dangle it over Kate's head to keep her silent. The last thing Kate would want was for Simon to hear about this. Kate's karma would come without Alessandra being the one to expose their past. Do you still wish to talk? Alessandra asked.